Hello there, welcome back to Spot on Chess. I'm going to start this off by taking a look at the game that kind of may have almost jeopardized Fabiano Caruana's fourth consecutive win of the United States Chess Championship. In the end, he finished with, 8 points versus 7.5 against Wesley So, who came in second place. Wesley So actually should have lost their personal encounter. And if you take a look here at this board, you'll see this position here. It's white to play and win. This is move 41. We'll see if you can find the move that actually would have sealed the deal and could have actually resulted in Fabi winning this event with a score of 8.5 to 7. So right here, we have this position. Take a moment, maybe take a few minutes. But if you're ready, we'll take a look at it now. The move played in the game was actually queen to f6, and this doesn't do it because the black queen gets back in time to defend. A move that would have sealed the deal would either be queen to b8 or queen to d8. You're threatening mate on the move. And now if they take the pawn here, you just set up a very simple mate like that. And it's going to be over. Now they could do some things to try and delay this. Let's say they give a check with the queen. You step up, they give this check, takes, still threatening mate on the move, right here like that. The only way to really avoid that is if they push this pawn up like that. It's still dead loss though after a move like this. Fascinating position. Wesley ended up getting a draw. And it's interesting because Grigoriy Oparin is one of Fabiano Caruana's seconds, and he had to play Wesley So in the final round and managed to hold him to a draw from an inferior position at points. So it was interesting how it all played out. But Fabiano Caruana is the 2025 U.S. chess champion. All right, so let's take a look at the game. From round 11, where Fabiano was able to hold against the one and only Aronian, Levon Aronian. So Levon opens up with e4, best by test, Bobby Fischer, e5, knight f3, knight c6. We could see bishop c4 here Italian, but no, we see a Spanish opening. We could have seen bishop takes knight here, right? That'd be exchange variation. Before the move a6, we could have seen Berlin. And that's really why the Italian came back into vogue, because people wanted to avoid that endgame play. But here we have a very interesting open Spanish that takes place. And there's a nice little sequence here where you don't really want to take the rook, because then knight takes knight, forking the queen and the bishop. You take the bishop, you save your bishop, you have two minors. So that's actually good for white. And so we get into this system here. And black has the bishop here, but not anymore because of this little trick where the queen gets skewered onto her rook, and white does get the exchange back. Now, white could throw in the move h4 here, but that wasn't played. Okay. Instead, Aroni immediately captures the rook. There's a mate threatened immediately. Queen comes over to defend. King captures, so the king can support a rook on e8. Knight comes up, pawn takes pawn takes. And then the rook comes over to the e file. And we have this move where the queen is no longer pinning this pawn on g2 to the king, so the king stepped out of the way. But the queen comes over to d2 to say, okay, if you take my bishop, I'll take your knight. And after this, there's a cute little trick that Fabiano Caruana with the black pieces plays, where he gets the queen off the back rank. Now, if you were to take with the king, there's this check here on g5, and you get the knight afterwards, and then you're actually playing for an advantage. So in the main line, it was queen takes, rook comes down check, rook takes rook, queen takes check, queen blocks, and now it's a perpetual check. It doesn't matter if you throw in the pawn instead to block. They'll just take, and then it's still perpetual check. King's in the corner and can't get away from the checks. So this was the game that Fabiano Caruana needed to not lose, and Levon Aronian's a very dangerous player, so he found a way to get a draw with a perpetual check. Wesley So was held to his draw in the game against Grigoriy Oparin, so that gave Fabiano Caruana the title of U.S. champion for 2025 on 8 points, a half point ahead of Wesley So. But as we saw earlier, had he won that game, his personal encounter with Wesley, he could have been a point and a half ahead of Wesley. But anyways, fantastic games. If you want to check out all the games, I highly recommend you go to the Week in Chess, and you can always go to the St. Louis Chess Center as well. Yeah, great games that were played in this event. Anyways, I'm wishing you and yours all the best. Stay well, be well, and always play the best moves in the game of life. Peace.